any Grease fans of the musical Grease in here, huh?
Tell me more. Tell me more. Gonna cancel that too. I'm telling you.
I'm surprised that hasn't been a Saturday Night rewatch. It sounds like an obvious one.
There is a, and this is old. This is going back years now. What is it? College Humor or whoever it is. I think that's who it is. College Humor or something like that did a video. It was a parody of the Tell Me More bit. Let's get to the point so that we can then parody it. There's the line in Tell Me More that setup ensemble song in the movie Grease, the play and movie Grease, where tell me more. I don't remember what the line is before it, but then Sonny says, tell me more. Did she put up a fight? And of course, all the people that read about Baby It's Cold Outside are coming out of the woodwork saying, well, that sounds really rapey to me. So that's a problem and it needs to be canceled. And like I said, years ago, College Humor had already done a parody about it where everyone's like, hey, whoa, that's not cool, man. Okay, sorry. And then they start up again and tell me more. And then he says, did you do this and that and knock her out? And man, what is wrong with you, dude? It's like, escalating it. And it's like, look, people, you really need to stop going back to films from the 70s that were set in the 50s and trying to find reasons to be upset about it. Yeah.
I was going to say the reason I love watching movies from the 70s is that they did upset people even during the time. That's what makes them interesting to watch.
The blazing saddles and all that kind of stuff,
Yes. And Grease was mild. Think of all the other movies that came out in the 70s. Taxi Driver.
So, and that particular line, did she put up a fight? The hardest thing to say is that you have one guy who would even think that Danny did something inappropriate, because we know on her side of it, she's saying how sweet and wonderful Danny was. So we have to assume that he didn't do anything that she didn't approve of or have a problem with. We know from the, Some Enchanted Evening opening that it was beautiful and romantic and, pretty mild.
Tell me more.
It might have been in between.
Oh, right. Was it love at first sight? Tell me more. Did she put up a fight? And again, that's meant to be the contrast, right? Between her having this sweet love story that she's sharing and him being all Mr. Bravado on his side, right?
Yeah. Well, it's called art, right?
Yeah. And let's face it, and the audience knows that it's actually it's not quite either.
That's the whole point. Yes.
Puppy love, and it's unfortunate that they're being pulled apart by these factors. And then you come to the end and it's like, what? They're both willing to give up their identities for the other. She becomes, the greaser and he becomes the jock because they both think that's what the other wants. And they both realize we're leaving. They even almost basically say it. Look, we're leaving high school. We're graduating now. You guys are going to be on your own. You're going to have other people that you're going to have to depend on yourselves to figure out where you're going, And as for me, I've made my decision. I want to do what I need to do to get the girl that I want. And if that means getting rid of my leather jacket and putting on a Letterman's jacket, he even went out for track in order to, try to impress her, but they don't look at that stuff. They get all focused on, oh, it's sexist.
Yeah, apparently this was British outrage. They showed this movie on Boxing Day. Okay. That's the day after Christmas over there, right?
Yeah.
And that actually sounds like a good movie to watch after Christmas, maybe, right? I don't know. It's not really Christmas. It's just a good movie. It's fun. I always found it fun when I was growing up. And they're like, oh, it's not the first time Grease has come under the spotlight for political correctness. In October 2020, the lead actress had to defend the music amid the Me Too movement claims. Lead actress Olivia Newton-John said, "It's a movie and a fun story, and I've never taken it too seriously."
Yeah. I mean, for crying out loud, Matthew Flynn, I think maybe we should think about talking about this a little bit too. Cause as Aged Boomer points out, this is all coming out of the UK. Matthew Flynn and I are talking about recording a couple of shows in the next week or so. We're going to talk about Doctor Who. We're going to talk about Transformers.
Cool.
Now maybe we'll talk about Grease too. I don't know.
Hey, but Wolf 10, he's over here. He's like, Aged Boomer, I'm interpreting the context as, did she play hard to get? That's how I took it when I saw it as a kid. Like when the guy goes up there and goes, "Oh, I'm not interested," and it's a hard to get thing. That's how I took it. And you can interpret
the context of the relationship these guys have. You almost get the impression that they're going, she sounds so good. What did she see in you? She must not have really been interested in you. To the point that by the end of it, the same guy who says, did she put up a fight, is the one who ends up with, can she get me a friend? It's like, hey, did she have a girlfriend that she could set me up with?
They never have friends. Anyway, okay, I'm sorry. Leia plus size, though, it says, oh no, they're telling a different version. Danny is trying to be tough, but we really fell in love with Sally. Yeah, it's a love story.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that's basically what I was getting at, Leia plus size. I mean, he goes through that whole thing with Sid Caesar about going out for track, right? It's like, okay, whatever I have to do to try and win Sandy, and the only reason that she's, flirting with the jock, she's not interested in him at all. He's a complete, dingus. She's doing it to make him jealous, so that he'll get his head on straight. And it kind of works. So is she sexist for being manipulative? I mean, it's high school. I mean, we look at the fact that we have 30-year-olds playing these high school kids, and we forget they're supposed to be high school kids.
Yes.
And they also said that it's homophobic. What they're referring to is this awesome scene where, and it's hysterical, where Sonny where Danny and Kanicki get excited about something and they're happy and they jump up and down and they start hooting and then they hug each other and then they back off and they're like, hey, and they start combing their hair and guys, keep in mind, this is supposed to be the 50s. Okay. You don't even know what homophobic is if you don't know homophobia in the 50s.
Even in the 80s compared to, but
anyone thought that you were gay, there was the possibility you ended up dead.
Yeah.
And if we forget that history, I'm sorry, you got to give up your social justice card. There is no equality for people of different preferences today if we didn't have horrible times like that back then. Okay. We need to deal with that. I mean, that's like trying to make, that's like trying to erase the fact that slavery happened. You don't have equality of race today if we didn't get over slavery in the past and talk about it and bring it up from time to time. Talking about homophobia. My gosh.
Yeah, the 50s were very bad. Well, they in some ways, they were very, actually, one thing that always upsets me about the 50s, I was a big fan of those EC horror comics like Tales from the Crypt, and those basically got thrown off the market because of a moral panic about comic books. Right. Okay, and we're having moral panics these days. I mean, there was a thing recently about a computer game that that they were trying to get pulled off the Switch. That's the Sense, that game called Sense, a cyberpunk horror story.
Well, I'll tell you, it's not It's not the religious right anymore that's doing it. It's now the social justice left that are being puritanical.
Yeah,
and talk about hypocrisy, because they will point the finger and yell and scream and ree about religious people, and they've created their own religion out of social justice.
Yeah. Or a cult. We'll see.
Yeah. Well,
but
I'm not, and I'm not sure exactly what's racist about Greece. I mean, can someone tell me? I don't remember them dropping the N-word anywhere or anything like
maybe
that.
Maybe because it had an all-white cast for the time. I don't remember. Maybe it did, and I haven't seen it in a while.
Guys, again,
a lot of times when they see this, and then you actually do see plenty
it was the 50s. Okay, yeah. You didn't, history doesn't work the way, the BBC creates shows now, where we just swap out people and make them diverse.
Yeah, the schools were still segregated back then, weren't they?
Absolutely, they were.
So, I mean,